got to say, I've got some mixed emotions as far as my progress. So, we all have these big pictures of where we want to be. And then we realize, oh, wait a minute, I don't know this yet. I don't know that yet. It's not like I can just jump ahead. Right. And so, like you say a lot of the time is you have to do the do, right? You have to take things one step at a time to get where you're going. And it's not just going to be, oh, look, there it is. And on the flip side, I'm like, oh, look at that. Oh, that was really cool. Oh, what a surprise. So there's been a lot of, there's been a lot of cool things that have happened too, that have been a little unexpected. And it's been I guess a really good way for me to summarize it is a lot of self-discovery and growth.
I would have to agree. Well, in what I've seen of your sort of starting point and your reservations and your hesitation to sort of how you show up, how you post, the things that you've talked about in the live videos, like I have seen lots of growth, and you really should, pat yourself on the back for, a lot of consistency. Yes, there's things that you would have liked to have been further ahead with that you sort of haven't got mastered yet. But, in the scheme of things, 6 months isn't long to make really big strides. And I think sometimes, people go like, right, in 6 months' time, I'm going to be smashing it. But 6 months is not long when you're learning a lot and you're doing everything that you're doing. Like, this is not that you're not doing just this full time. You've got all the other things that you do in your world. So if you think about that, what you've been able to achieve here with the time that you've actually got with everything else that you do, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. And it's a really good foundation, to build on. So what is it that you think that I think I know what you're going to say, but what do you think it is that you still need to improve on, that you haven't, like either you've avoided or you've got a block, or something stopping you doing something? So, where do you think you really still need to push through?
That's a really good question. In my life, like you, I wear lots of hats. I have multiple streams of income as well, and keeping all of those things going and meeting all those needs, it can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I've moved out of that space in a huge way. I've grown tremendously in the last year, and in particularly the last 6 months. I don't know that it's one particular block as much as, or I think it is. I think it is one block. I think it has to do with, yes, I can handle being successful. Like, yes, I can handle being bombarded by all the things that I see successful people be bombarded with, and that I can handle those. And so I think there's like a core block that, keeps me from following my calendar that I've time blocked off, or it keeps me from getting that content, pre-planned and ready to go and scheduled and things like that. And money blocks, there's still obviously a money block.
Okay. That's a big one. Money blocks are big ones, and they're often the things that, you can recognize it and say it like now, but it runs in the background, and you avoid things and do things differently because subconsciously you've got a money block. So that might be something that you really want to sort of dive into regarding money blocks, and bringing in, just even those daily affirmations and things and reinforcement to, slowly break down the habit of a negative money block. you know, that you see money is and I've done that at various times. Like, you know, money is abundant. Money, like what have the ones that I've said in the past? Money is all around me. Money is abundant. You know, just bringing in that mindset of, you know, it's unlimited. It's everywhere, and I can attract it to me. Like I am financial, you know, I'm attracting money, you know, in all different areas. So, you know, have you had anything like from your past or upbringing, you know, that you can put your finger on that might have money?
Oh, so many. Oh, so
Oh,
many. Like
okay.
my grandfather, growing up in New York, he was what is the word? he was, he was very discriminatory. You know, a lot of people in New York back in the age of the Depression, which is when he grew up, you know, it was like, stay away from those people because we have to stay over here because. And so people were very much so in protective mode. And so he would always talk about the Jews, like the Jewish folks in New York, who were, you know, they were doctors, they were this, they were whatever. That's just what they kind of did. They went into being lawyers and whatnot. And he would always talk about them having more money than sense, and how you know, when you have money you become a shyster, you just get greedy and you're trying to you know, always get money, right? And so my family, you know, it was a lot of programming in my family growing up about, you know, you don't want to be stupid, you don't want to be senseless and rich, you know, because that's a bad thing, that people get into trouble.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
that's
that's
just
that's
one.
a
I
big
mean,
one.
my
Yeah,
mom,
right.
another thing too is like when I was growing up, I would like try and save money, and I'd have something like maybe a toy or something that I wanted to buy. I remember being like 9 or 10 years old. My mom had us start riding horses and showing horses when we were 7. And she literally took money out of my account to buy me a bridle, which I'm not wearing a horse bridle, for my birthday. And then I think a year or two later, I really wanted to go rescue a dog from the pound. And she took money out of my account and bought me a registered cockadoodle thing that, you know, I wanted the big shaggy dog. And she gets me this thing that I just didn't care about. And she spent my money to do it. So even when I had money, it was stolen. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got some work to do around that, because that,
Mhm.
you know, on the surface of it, that's like a financial block, but how that plays out is you're literally avoiding doing some of the things, because what if you're successful and you earn some money, then what do? You turn into a bad person, or, you know, you're evil or whatever. So that is really a core value for you to really try to work with. I would be starting with some reframing of some statements for yourself every day around money. You know, money is not evil. So whatever you know, like really explore like what you just shared with me, those thoughts around um what was the statement you said? Money no sense, or something, you know, that,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Those folks have more money than sense.
Yeah, so like reframing, because that's your programming. That's like, that's stuck, and that's probably always going to keep you stuck in ways that you don't even know
Right.
is holding you back from really doing the things that you know you need to do. Because it's not like you don't know, and it's not like sometimes you don't, you like it's even there and planned and kind of ready to go, but you know, it's the execution of it, because subconsciously it's like, well, what if that worked? And you know, what if I became wealthy? Then I'm a bad person.
Right.
um so there's a lot of personal work there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, and if you have money, people will be a target. You know, you'll be a target,
Yeah, right.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like, you know, a lot of the areas where I've stayed stuck,
Yep.
have literally been because of some really core issues,
Yeah.
you
And is
know.
that like, are you quite well aware of that, or you're only really aware of it when you think about it deeply? Like, is it something that pops into your head and you can shift subconsciously, or is it like more buried and you just sort of run on autopilot, and it's not until you really sit and think, well, why am I doing that? That's because of, that, like, what kind of level is it for you as far as awareness? I mean, I know you're aware of it now, but on a day-to-day basis when you're doing things, is it something you kind of think about, or are you just running on that autopilot because of it?
I think it comes and goes. I think there are
Okay.
some days that I'm on autopilot, and then other days where I'm like wallowing in it,
Yeah. Okay. So
wallowing in this.
yeah, so a couple of things there, like the daily reinforcement of what you do want, not what's been running your subconscious, because you slowly need to shift that. And it takes time to reframe our thoughts into, something that's been totally different than what we've been run from, in our past. So, those affirmations, money is not evil. I can be successful and happy and respected, and whatever it is that you need to sort of shift for yourself with what's buried deep there, every morning and every night. Somewhere along the line, if you get into the habit of that, your natural thought processes will lean towards that, rather than the subconscious thoughts that you've got going on. But it's going to take repetitive
Well, and
work.
I also, I do a lot of energy work. And I've got a lot of friends that do energy work as well. And so I'm just waiting for my gut to tell me it's time,
Yeah.
right, to get that done so that I can blast past that. And
Awesome.
Mhm.
Whatever you need to do that will work for you, and if you can do that energy work, then that's obviously going to help, because it's more than just words. Like, and we need to believe it as well, and sometimes we need those kind of deeper shifts to help us along the way, because we can say things, but if the pull subconsciously is a lot stronger than what we're telling ourselves, it doesn't stick. So
Right. We have to believe the affirmations, otherwise, and yeah.
yeah. So the energy work can definitely, help towards that. So I would absolutely put
Mhm.
that as a priority, because that's what
Mhm.
everything stems from, is, it's what's happening in our subconscious. Like, you would know that to the core.
Mhm.
So that's, I think that could be really helpful for you to then just be able to move forward in the things that you're currently holding yourself back for.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in some ways, I do think that, well, I can just tell when I'm avoiding something repeatedly, and it's not like I'm saying, "Oh, I'm not doing that," because it's that it gets pushed to the bottom of the priority list day after day after
Yeah.
day. Oh, this is more
Yeah.
important, or this is more important, or this is more important.
Yeah. So
So,
with that, there's also, like, there's two sides to it. There's the work that you need to do around the money blocks, but there's also, in that level of awareness where you're actually kind of recognizing that you're pushing it down or you're avoiding it, you have to get on top of that, even though you don't
mhm.
want to. So it's kind
Mhm.
of, no, I've pushed that down the bottom. I've got to get that done. I'm doing it now. Like, or I'm doing it in the next hour, or no, I'm doing that in 3 hours time. Like, I'm going to get that done. So you're going to have to, when that awareness comes in, actually act on it and do something about
Mhm.
it, rather than just go, oh, I've done it again. I've pushed it to the side. I'll get to it tomorrow. And it just, like, you're not really, you know, you're aware of it, but you're not doing anything about it. So if you have those moments of awareness, you just have to push through that and do whatever it is that you're avoiding.
Right.
And if
Yep.
you've time blocked something, and you're meant to be doing something, and you go and do something else, then you're like, no, I just have to go and get this done. I just have to, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm doing it. Like, you just have to throw yourself, like, into it to start breaking, because it's really a bad habit because of the beliefs. But when you're aware of it and you don't actually act on it, that's even worse. So you've got an opportunity when the awareness comes in to go and tackle it. Even if it's just something small that you know you should be doing towards it, something small, sometimes it's more of a thought process of getting started than something where if we just didn't overthink it and we just went and did it, then, it's a bit like exercise. You don't feel like doing it. You don't feel like doing it. You don't feel like doing it. You play with, with your mental game. And if you just did it quicker, once you get on your way or you're on your run or you walk, it's like, oh, this is cool. And off you go. But, a lot of people play that mental game. Oh, should I, what time? Oh, getting late, whatever. If they just got out there and did it, then they'd save themselves a lot of stress. Does that make sense? How I'm trying to explain that?
It totally makes sense. It totally makes sense. Yes, it really does make sense. And I have been one of my challenges is that I think I plan more in my day than is humanly possible to get done. And then I find myself having to pick what's the next highest priority. And I look at, I've got an appointment at 2:00. It's 1:15. What do I have time to work on? What do I have time to do? What do I have time to accomplish in that 45-minute time frame versus, this is my top priority, even though it's 3 hours long, I'm going to cancel that appointment and I'm just going to do this 3-hour long thing. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes the challenge is when the awareness happens, the scheduling is still kind of a problem. So, but I have earlier, so here's a good example. I was supposed to send out some carts yesterday. The lady actually asked me for them night before last. And I was going to send them out yesterday because it was just late. And at some point, I just need to stop. And so yesterday I was going to do it all day long. And it doesn't take that long to do, right? It doesn't take that long. And what I just kept putting other things and other things and other things. And today I was like, man, I still need to do that. And I was like, stop, just go do it. Let that over there sit, go do this now.
Yeah.
And so I did. I got them, sent off.
Good. And that's the mental game that you're going to need to play with yourself. Like, stop, do it. This is only actually going to take me 10 minutes, or I can smash this out in 20 minutes, or it's not that big a deal. You just get it done. So it really is the difference between sort of motivation and discipline, because sometimes we kind of sort of wait till we feel like it. And, when we're playing mind games with ourselves, we're like, oh, no, I'll do that later because I don't really feel like doing it. Where it's just the discipline of, that's actually only going to take me about 15 minutes. I've got to get that done. So you discipline yourself to do it. You don't wait for I don't really feel like doing that. I'm tired now or whatever. It's just like, I can actually smash that out in 10 or 15 minutes. I'm just going to get it done. And you just discipline yourself to do things rather than overthinking it or waiting or pushing it to the next day or whatever. So it's really that discipline versus the motivation to do something when you know something has to be done.
And, I think I also need to, in my time blocking, be specific enough with it. So I've got time for calls so that as I'm trying to do something and people are calling or texting, I'm not going back and forth, because that's another thing is multitasking. I think, I need to maybe schedule or plan a time or have a designated routine. Okay, the last 15 minutes of my lunch break is going to be, responding to voicemails or messages or whatever.
Absolutely. So there may be a lot in your day that you're unaware of, that you are slowly wasting a lot of time in your day. This it's very easy to happen when you've got a lot of things on multiple streams of income, like I know. So you can be quite unaware when you're doing a bit of this and a bit of that and checking an email and a message and doing a bit of this. If you just got very much more disciplined with what you're doing, then it's like no, I'm going to, like with my emails now, I used to go back and forth during the day, and I still do various blocks of time, but checking your email or your messages every now and again, it sends you off on a tangent. You start reading something, you respond to something, and then suddenly you're not doing what you had written down, as an item. So, it's like, no, I'm actually not going to look at my email until 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. or whatever. I've got to get this task done. So you might need a bit more discipline about what you're doing when, and time blocking things for like your messenger messages or your emails or certain things, and really practice and discipline working smarter and not harder. Because the more you juggle, the less organized you are, the more time you are wasting.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just leads to chaos up here, because you're juggling all these things. There's no sort of sense of organization of what you're doing there. So your brain is in overdrive because you're dealing with this and that and this and that all at once, and you're doing that all day long. It just doesn't work very well. So, you might be working at like 75% capacity of what you could be if you really sort of time blocked certain activities at certain times and only did them then. And just disciplined yourself. Like I kind of talk to my own head sometimes, like this morning, I got up, and my old natural habit is to sort of check my messages straight away, because I've got global people that I deal with. And at the moment, I'm like, you are not allowed to open your phone to anything else other than your affirmations. So I've got to talk to myself and tell myself that. So my brain's going, oh, just check my messages. And it's like, no, Helen, the only thing you're doing now is opening the notes section of your phone and rereading your affirmations over and over and over again. And I do that 5 or 10 times. Then I allow myself to open my messenger. But it's like, it's me first. It's my brain. It's my thoughts in the morning about what I need to achieve. So, yours is, I'm going to have a super productive day. I'm going to smash out the time blocking today. I'm going to get this done today. And that's what you fill your brain with first thing in the morning. And you set yourself up for success on what you need to do for you, not what everybody else wants from you. Mm-hmm. But I've literally got to like tell myself, no, Helen, you're not doing that. You're not opening your messenger yet. No, like I have to discipline myself with those certain things. Even if I want to go and do something, I discipline myself. I don't wait for the motivation. I discipline myself to, no, you'll do that later. You've sort of programmed that for later. So you might just have to play with this a little bit, discipline yourself, try some time blocking for the activities that you're doing in between, like a voice message here or an email there or whatever, like whatever's, filling your day, and see how you go. And then, as with anything, you test and evaluate how that worked for you.
Yeah. I think one of my things is really going to be like getting a core structure to my day.
Yeah. And it is prioritizing things into days and weeks. Like when I get super, super overwhelmed and my to-do list has just got longer and longer and longer and longer, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like I'm getting stressed now. I re-look at everything I've got on my plate, and it's kind of like a 3-2-1 type priority. And it's like, what's really in my face, like what needs to be done this week or what needs to be done tomorrow, and what can actually wait until 3 days time or next week. And it's like, you know what, I'm shifting that until next week. I don't actually need to do that right now. I've got all these other things. So sometimes you just need to reorganize your priorities with your tasks and then work with your calendar. And if you do have too much in your calendar, mentally, you could be overwhelming yourself by looking at your own calendar.
Right.
So there's that too, depending on how you organize your calendar. Sometimes the little things you don't need to put on your calendar because they just happen. Anything that's happening that's positive, that's subconscious, that you do in your day, don't necessarily put it on your calendar because you don't need to remind yourself, because it's kind of part of your programming. The stuff that you need to do that's not happening very fluidly, and you're kind of avoiding it, get it in the calendar. So
yeah, I have to be very careful with my calendar now because my website for Healthy Flow Holistic Wellness has links that people can schedule
Oh,
stuff. So I have to plug in my lunch. I have to plug in my drive to here or my drive home from there. I have to put those
okay.
in so that the calendar app knows you're not
Not
available.
available. Okay.
So I've done some things like I have a green color block that's for projects, and it's prep what's next. If I need to block off 30 minutes to get ready for the next whatever, I have prep what's next, and I just know I put that in there, and that's what it means is look what's going on and get that ready to go. So I'm finding ways that I'm making, like you said, you try something and you evaluate, you shift. You try something, you evaluate, you shift. And so I am doing that.
Yeah.
I am doing that. And I'm making progress with it, but it's just not perfect
Not,
yet.
yeah, not where you want it to be yet.
Yeah.
So far, I think your priorities are money blocks has to be priority, because you're always going to stop yourself doing some certain things because of, the subconscious running that's happening with that. The
Mhm.
time blocking, prioritizing, and the time blocking. And for you, time blocking for batch recording, batch creating some content. So, because that's probably something that's really eating into your time when you're doing things on the fly all the time, the energy, the thinking, then the execution, like you're probably wasting quite a bit of time
And
with
I'm
that.
wasting quality. I mean, that's the part too that I'm realizing, is what I'm putting out there is kind of, I don't know. It's like throwing spaghetti on the wall.
Yeah.
It's not very fluid. It's not got a connection and a theme and a whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm in the mood for this. Boom. And I put it up there,
Yeah.
and so it's
Yeah.
a little here and a little there.
Yeah.
Thankfully, people are reaching out. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're doing something right. But it does, when you're on the fly like that, you're actually wasting a lot of time, like your own worst enemy in a lot of ways,
Mhm.
because of the way that you're actually working. So the content is a big one, because of not only the quality, of the content, it's the amount of thinking that you're doing about content. Like, I need to post, what should I post? And then you throw something up. So it's not good quality. So there's not much thought behind, some of it, but it's also something you're thinking about again. When you're like, I can't tell you how freeing it is when you know exactly what you're posting, where, even like my live videos, and I talk about this a lot, like I do 3 public live videos a week, on my business page and stuff like that. If I go into a week not knowing what I'm talking about, and I'm doing that every day, it's like, oh, okay, I haven't got anything organized. What am I talking about tomorrow? And then the next day, or what am I talking about in my live video the next day? And if I do that 3 times a week, I've wasted so much more time than when I sit down on a Sunday and a Monday and I'm like, okay, what's my 3 topics for this week? What am I going to talk about? I do my notes. It's already, I put it to the side. I know exactly what I'm talking about, every topic ready to go. And I just pick up my pieces of paper when I actually go live. Like, the amount of energy and time that goes into those 2 different ways of doing things is incredible. So you're a bit here, there, here, there, here, there. You're not kind of, okay, what am I putting out when, what time, whatever. Even if it's just a bit of a, I don't have one here. Like, the A4 sheet of paper, you print out a month, and it's like, okay, these are my 5 topics every day. This is an engagement post. This is a health post. This is a, happy juice post. This is a whatever. And it's just, the outline. So it's like, oh, what am I meant to be posting today? And then you go and create the content, but the structure, the format, it's already there. Like, you don't have to think too hard about it. Or batch recording some reels or having some posts ready to go. But that requires somewhere in your calendar, at least probably an hour block somewhere, which is just for content creation and planning.
Yeah, I don't seem to be able to do that in an hour.
Well,
I could sit there for a little while.
just a framework. Like, what am I posting kind of when, or just, you've got 7 days ahead. It's just, if you're struggling with 30 days, you start with 7, or you
Okay.
start with 3. You start small. Anything where you're trying to create a new habit, you start small. So don't try to tackle a month's calendar if you haven't nailed 7 days. So just start with 7 days. Okay. So next week I've got 7 days. I'm going to do an engagement post, a happy juice post, a running post, something personal, something funny, and gratitude for somebody in my team. It's your 7 days. So it's just your structure. Then within, like, if that's an hour, like you could literally do that in 5 minutes. Then for the rest of that hour, you could start like, okay, what am I going to say? Who am I going to give gratitude to? What things would I say regarding running? Curiosity post. Okay, I'll go into my AI tool and come up with something. You could recycle a post that you did like a month ago and just change the words slightly. No one knows. Similar type post, but you're keeping your consistency with what you're talking about. Like you can have all of that kind of, you can have some kind of good sense of structure in an hour, and then you just tidy it up maybe on a daily basis. But at least it's like, okay, I've got to get that post up. Yep, that's what I'm posting. That was my core idea. I'll just tidy that up and get posted. But that's half the amount of time than if you're going, what am I going to post, and throwing something crappy up there.
Yeah.
So just get started. Even if 7 days is like, just have a goal. Like I'm just, the next 3 days, I'm going to plan in advance. So tomorrow I'm going to do an engagement post. The next day I'm going to do this, and the next day I'm going to do that. Sit down, put some thought as to what you're actually going to say, what kind of image or reel or video that you're going to record, or that you pre-record or something like that. And just, let the next 3 days just fall into place. And I guarantee you go, that's so much easier. Why didn't I start doing that ages ago? Everyone says it. It's like, it's so awesome to feel organized and it just flows. So you got to get to that point. So just start small, but give it a really good concentrated effort.
Yeah. I will.
Good. So what else are you working on at the moment, or what questions have you got for me? I've got some feedback for you as well, but yeah.
I don't know that right now. I've been thinking about it for a couple of days, and I don't really know that I have any questions. I feel like I just need to kind of work out the bugs in my own day-to-day system right now. I don't think it's about information. I don't think it's about strategy. I think it's about me being able to apply it consistently in my life.
Absolutely. Now, have you got like a lead magnet? Like, are you collecting emails from your audience? Are you doing any of that? I can't remember.
So I have, that's the other thing, is I have these like different businesses that are doing different things.
Yeah.
So my energy work, when I go do festivals and whatever, I'm collecting emails because I'm offering a free reading session with them. I'm offering a drawing for that. So then I'm collecting emails, and I have a MailChimp list of like 1,400 people. And I send my offerings out to that. And, and then I'm creating some Facebook events so that people can show their interest on Facebook as well. Because people, quite honestly, I don't think they read their flipping emails much.
Yeah, some don't.
I mean, I always think of, I don't want to send out again. I don't want to send, but you know what? People are not. You need to send it 3 and 4 times. Otherwise, they're not going to pay attention to it.
Absolutely. And even if they see it, they'll glance over it and then they'll see it again. It's like, oh, I really should read that. Or what is that about? So you really need to put it in front of it over and over and over again. And when you feel like sometimes I send out emails, it might be about the video challenge or something like that I'm promoting. And it's like, oh, that's so many emails. Like, it almost makes me cringe. But it's usually the last one that, most people act on, because that's just human nature. So you have to have that consistency, and you have to service an email list. You can't just, not email people once you get them on a list. Otherwise they forget who you are. They lose interest. You've got to keep your name front of mind when people have given you their permission with their email address, you've got to email them at least once a week.
Right. And I haven't done a lead magnet for because I want to put the the Amare up underneath the Healthy Flow Holistic Wellness.
Sure.
Because what happens, Helen, is people come in, they find me through a particular way. Either it's physical healing, like I had a guy come find me because he needed blood flow for a crush injury, so he came and found me that way. And then I have other people that come in to take a Reiki class or whatever, and then they end up doing the other things with me. So, it works out. But yeah, I haven't done a lead magnet yet.
Yeah, so I think there's, moving forward, there's obviously your immediate priorities, which we've already discussed, but there's also, some things that you could be working smarter in your business and opportunities that you may be missing with lead magnets and automation. So, I think that's something that you can work on in your business as well, is, having more lead magnets or creating lead magnets for the different areas of your business and automating some things and having a good system for email marketing as well. Because there's so much money to be made in email marketing when you are regular and you're consistent. I might not have anybody do anything live, but I'll send out some emails about something, and that's where I can make all my money. With something. So it's really something, once somebody gives you their permission with their email address, you need to sort of regularly sort of service them, even if it's once a week. But that's another thing to put on your list, to-do list. What am I going to email them? What am I going to say? When am I going to fit that in? And then, scheduling. But you can schedule all of that in advance. So there's that, like looking forward into your business. I think that's an area that you probably need to grow with and, fine tune as well.
And getting into using a little bit of AI. I've been real resistant to that.
That makes it all easier. Yeah, no, it makes it so much easier for content, even for your social media content, using AI to help you create things, reword things. I pick up posts, put it in my AI tool and say, give me another version of this. And then I can put another post out that's got the same theme, same flavor of what I'm trying to say, but it's written completely differently. Like it just saves so much time. So there's things and tools that, you probably haven't really adopted yet into your business that, could be helping you achieve these things that you need to achieve as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I do. So yeah, that's kind of, you got your immediate priorities and then you've got those priorities. I did want to share with you, like with your social media, you're a lot more consistent than you used to be, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So good job. Like you are showing up, you are showing your face, you are talking about what you do, you're talking about, the gut health and various things. You are doing live videos. You have put up, I didn't see a lot, but I saw a couple of reels, when I was, going through it. You're sharing your journey. You shared your, your microbiome makeover. Like you're doing a good job of sharing you and your life and what you're using and that happy juice in all of that. So I just really wanted to share that with you. Like, I think what you're putting up, some of it might be empty, but you are sharing you. And this is something a lot of people miss. Like most of the VIPs, I'm kind of saying, where's you? Where's your face? Where are you showing up? You're not letting people get to know, like, and trust you. So on social media, one of the most important things is just basic. People need to get to know, like, and trust us. Our life, what's important to us, what we're doing, what we're drinking, all that kind of stuff. And you do have that flavor through your content. And even though it might be a bit, hit and miss and disorganized, you're consistent and you're showing up and you're showing your face and you're sharing a bit of like your story with the things that you are doing. So well done.
Thank you.
Okay. So it's just a matter of organizing a bit better. But, from kicking off this weekend with a concert to showing them your shoes, here's a live video. And I don't know why that live video is there 3 times. Can't stop laughing. help a girl out. But there's 3 live videos in a row. Oh no, they must be uploaded videos because it doesn't say. I'll see the full
Yeah, I
video.
did upload
Oh,
a couple of videos.
Yeah, so you must have chopped one up or something like that. But yeah, I mean, the good part is you're showing a bit of your personality. You've showed rawness. You've been authentic. You've cried. You're showing up, Laura, and that's half the battle. So good job with that. Just get more organization maybe behind it and save yourself some time, behind it. But that's pretty good. Now you're not on Instagram or TikTok or anything, are you?
I am on Instagram, but I'm mostly having it cross post.
Okay. Here's like, I don't think you have it linked. You've got your website linked, you've got your email linked, but there's no Instagram linked. So when somebody goes into your profile, when you edit your personal details here on Facebook, you can actually see like the Instagram logo, and you can put your Instagram handle here as well. So you can send people, do that because you can send people over to Instagram.
Okay. But if I'm cross posting, it's just going to be a duplication.
It is, but some people prefer Instagram than Facebook. They might find your Instagram and choose to follow you and then see you on Instagram. Like if you don't let people know you're on Instagram, it's not going to help you.
Okay.
So some people prefer Instagram than Facebook. So capture those people.
Yeah, and I am following everyone's advice. Everyone is consistently saying, just do the platform you've been on the longest, do the one that feels good to you, do that, and don't worry about the other ones till later. And until I get this stuff down, there's no sense in trying TikTok and all that.
Some people spread themselves like way too thin trying to do it all, and they don't get any traction anywhere. So you're better to get traction on one platform. And then once you've got a bit of an audience, you can move that over. Like if you're cross posting, that's fine, be on the platform. But, I totally agree. People spread themselves too thin by being on multiple platforms. Like just make a really good concerted effort on one platform, and then you can take that audience to another platform, if you want. Yeah. So do you have sorry, I'm on a tight time frame today. Do you have any questions for me?
I really don't think I do.
Yeah, that's okay. I think you know exactly where you're at. I think you know what you need to concentrate on. It's just a matter of, putting that into action. Would you like to stay in the program, or are you finishing up on the program?
I am still contemplating that. There are some things that I really love about it. And then well, I totally love the program, but I also am contemplating the cost, number one, and number two, when I'm making sure to do my live and make my notes for my lives, accountability calls and things like that, I'm like, if I weren't doing that and filling out the Google Doc, the Drive, would I be using that time for, so I'm trying to weigh that out in the next little bit for myself, but I know you need to know, so you know how many slots
I do, because the slots are filling up fast. So that's all about accountability. So you are evaluating what your goals are. Did you meet them? What do you know differently? So you're actually assessing and evaluating yourself every week and keeping yourself accountable. It's not meant to be a huge burden on you. You, out of all the VIPs, put a lot more effort into your video. You could probably easily take a little bit of your pressure off and not necessarily give me what I need to know. I need to know what your goals are. Are you meeting your goals? If you didn't, what are you going to do differently? But you could probably get them through quicker. And I don't expect you to write lots of notes and stuff like that. So if that's putting a lot of pressure on you to get that video done, then, take a little bit of, this is going to sound really weird, but take a little bit of pressure off yourself and do less of a good job of your video. if that
Okay.
makes sense. So you can lighten up that a little bit. Like, I need to know where you're at, what you're working on. Are you meeting your own goals? It's your evaluation in your own head every week. You should be doing that. The difference with here is you are putting a camera in front of your face, but you should be doing that anyway, spending that time anyway. So don't think of that as like an extra kind of VIP program. You should be going through that process every week, irrespective of the fact that it's on a camera.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I will let you know ASAP.
Yeah.
Because I do know, when does the new one start? October the 1st?
October 1st, but I need to know before that because there's all these people kind of in the wings, and my priority is for the existing, VIPs. I know it's a cost, but if you utilize it and, use it as growth with lead magnets and email marketing and whatever, like it's not much money for a 6-month program, and the amount of, the calls and the time and attention and the reviews. And if you really use the Facebook group and keep yourself accountable, it's actually a really inexpensive program as far as
I'm not saying that there's not value there. I'm
Yeah.
just saying my ability to afford it,
Yeah,
because like I
sure.
said, my income hasn't really gone as high as
Yeah,
I
yeah.
maybe wanted it to, but a lot of that's probably just because my own blocks.
Yeah. So just, evaluate, have a think. Like there's no pressure from
Mhm.
me on this. It's what you think is going to be good for you with, that accountability, that direction, what you're working on, really growing more in the things that we've talked about. Whether you can do that on your own or whether you think you sort of need that kind of accountability and support. That's really what it comes down to.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
it does. And I do appreciate the consistency and the weekly and monthly, I do appreciate that in a great way.
Yeah.
It does help me out a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I will let you know. Is by the end of this weekend, okay?
Yeah, that should be okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I've really got to fly. I'm late for another call. So I will send you the recording of this later, today. So at least you've got it. So if there's anything that we've talked about that you need to re-listen to, at least you've got the recording of it. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you.
See ya.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Bye.